welcome to this very special event in collaboration with Sharaka. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our panel this morning from literally around the world for our discussion on the new Middle East. First, please let me introduce you to Dr. Majid Al Sarrah, who is the co-founder and board member of Sharaka. Majid Al Sarrah has experience of 20 years working in various public and private sectors. He holds a bachelor degree in law and economics, a master's degree in international business, and a master's degree in public policy, as well as a doctorate degree in economics and policy. He's currently working on his second doctorate in business administration. Majid is an expert in public policy who has worked in various policy advising projects both in public and private sectors in the UAE, enhances public policies towards sustainability and prosperity. Al-Anud Al-Hashemi is the Deputy CEO of Sharaka UAE. Al-Anud is the leader of serial entrepreneur with digital transformation and futuristic focus. Over the past 15 years, she held an array of strategic leadership positions that has drastically contributed to Dubai's and the UAE's media and creative production scene. She's currently the Chief Executive Officer of the Futurist company she founded in 2020 to contribute to the UAE advancement as a hub of the latest technologies that disrupt its application in human life, including RG tech. Omar Al-Bashadi is the Fulbright Scholar, author, and economic affairs liaison at the Consulate General of the UAE in New York, with a master's degree in international affairs and intelligence at Florida State University. Omar is also a non-resident fellow at Trends in Research Advisory, a geopolitical think tank based in Abu Dhabi, UAE. Omar has been invited to mentor students on entrepreneurship, communications, and leadership at several university and conferences across the UAE and around the world. Amit is the co-founder and executive director of Sharaka. Thank you all so much for being here. We are honored to have each and every one of you here with us today. Please, everybody here who is with us today, we're honored to have you too. We ask that you send me any questions directly in the chat. Someone says I have a terrible echo. Do I have a terrible echo, Adi? No? Okay, everybody can hear me fine, hopefully? Okay, great, awesome. Okay, so I want to start with Dr. Majid. If you can please share with us and start by telling us a little bit about Sharaka. I think that would be great.
Definitely. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor, honestly, to be here, hosted by you and meeting all the lovely people here. I can see all the pictures from the screen. Honestly speaking, Sharaka was like a fruit coming out of the Abrahamic Accords. And it was just an idea where we had the first delegation to visit the UAE, headed by Amit Deri. And I met them in Dubai, and you know, actually the delegation that came to Dubai for the first time ever, all Israelis, you know, they don't even know what's going to happen in Dubai. They don't know what they're going to see in Dubai. So we were in touch via social media and you know, exchanging some pictures, ideas, you know, discussing differences between cultures in Israel and the UAE. And then apparently we, luckily, we got to meet each other here, even though it was COVID time, but they came to Dubai, all, you know, tested negative, and they saw Dubai, they saw the beauty of Dubai, and we saw the beauty of their souls, you know, of the Israelis. Not like the picture that all the misleading media was actually promoting for the last, I don't know, couple of decades maybe, or even more. And we directly, you know, we get along as if we were waiting for this moment, you know, we were just waiting for any chance just to get to each other and to exchange chats as if we had a break, you know, so as if we were together, but then we had a break, and then we met again, and we're like, how are you guys? How have you been doing? We miss you. So I think it's a great idea, and we sat together. We had some brainstorm sessions where we came up with the idea of Sharaka. And Sharaka, honestly, it's the name is completely Arabic. It means partnership, and it was chosen by Israelis, which makes it even more beautiful. Amit, I remember the other day when he calls me, he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Yes, it means partnership." And then we went for it, and I was like, "That's the best name we can ever have." It's a partnership between people from the Gulf, and we're not just targeting UAE; we're targeting the whole region. And between Israelis, we need to make it up for the past years. And then, honestly, we created Sharaka. Sharaka is building bridges. We all know what happened with the Abrahamic Accords. Some of you maybe were there in DC, seeing the signatory ceremony. And the foreign ministers signed off all the agreements and everything, where they actually opened the doors for all of us. We are the people, you know. So we need to continue what happened over there. We need to hold hands, walk together, get to know each other, build bridges. And when we say bridges, we have a lot of aspects to work on, culture, business, arts, music, you name it. It's people to people connection. It's not something similar to any cold peace we have witnessed, in the past, maybe since the 90s, with Jordan, with Egypt. And by the way, I guarantee you, we're aiming to change this Cold War to make it even a warm, cold peace. What I meant to say is cold peace. So we need to change this cold peace to make it into warm peace, to make it into people peace. Uh, Unfortunately, some people from different countries would have, they have been watching TV channels, misleading media, I would say, telling them that, oh my God, Israelis, they're the dilemma here in the region. Do not talk to them, do not deal with them. But no, we open the portals for, having something called hiwar in Arabic, which is having dialogues, exchanging ideas, understanding each other, which is really important. I have been to Israel. Amit was there. It was a historic visit during Hanukkah. We got to lighten the candle of Hanukkah at the Kotel. Something really exceptional. We didn't expect to see that, and even me. We watch the media. Even though I met a lot of Israelis, I met a lot of Jews when I was in the UK or in the US or even in Europe. uh, it's not like what they show you in the media, And unfortunately, it reminds us of the dark times before the Holocaust, where actually, and I saw it only in Yad Vashem in my visit in Israel. It reminds you of those moments where all Europe used to promote hate and discrimination against Jews. So this is what's happening, and with those media, and we have to combat that. We have to eliminate any kinds of discrimination by those media channels. So I went there, I met people, I was wearing my national dress, kandura, and walking around in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem. People were hugging me. Came to me. They were like, some of them didn't speak English or Arabic. They're just salam, shalom, which is peace, which is so beautiful. Even kids, kids came to me. They're surprised. I mean, what is this guy doing here? What is he wearing? They wanted to touch the kandura. They wanted to say hi. Just kids. We want a better future for these people. So that's why Sharaka is so determined, to build these ties, to eliminate any kinds of discrimination, any kinds of, I would say, promoting hate in the Middle East, which will result in the current situation. We all share common enemies in this region, such as the extremist regimes, from Iran, from maybe Turkey, from these kind of, extremists. So we need to build ties and create better future so that people are more aware of what's happening, to build, which will result definitely, through these, to build the strongest economies, to build the strongest, business hubs. Israel and the UAE, one of the leading countries in business, in technologies, and so on. So we need this to prosper and to make it even spread all over the region, not just the UAE. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you brought up your trip to Israel, because it was really one of the things that I had seen either on Instagram or on Facebook, and the videos that you had shared had really caught my eye and really touched me in so many ways. Of course, I was born in Israel and raised there and came here at a fairly young age, but still, many of those videos had caught my eye. So I do want to share one of those videos of you all and your first visit to Israel, and really your first visit to Yad Vashem. So I want to share that with our members and with our audience in a video that I really think should be shared with the masses.
Definitely.
Today, we all stand together with our brothers and sisters, the Jews around the world. What we have seen in Yad Vashem was the truth. A lot of people, as we have seen, saying that the Holocaust is not a true event. However, unfortunately, that was a crime against Jews for absolutely nothing, as a result of hate, as a result of discrimination, as a result of planting these ideologies in the brains of people to hate Jews for absolutely nothing, just because they embrace their own religion, just because they believe in their God. So today, we say it again, never again. Our visit to Yad Vashem was a great historical visit. It's a thing that we have not seen in the past in our lives. We got to see them with our own eyes. We have seen videos. We have seen soldiers killing women and children with cold blood just because they're Jews. This is a crime. That was a genocide that is unacceptable. And we promise you today, from this platform, that we, Sharaka, we will spread the knowledge about the Holocaust. We will never allow any kinds of discrimination, any kinds of hate, any kinds of anti-Semitism in our world. Today, together, Muslims, Jews, Christians, or any other religion, we all hold hands, we all stand together. We promise you from this platform, it will never ever happen again. We will spread the knowledge about the Holocaust. We will encourage people to raise their awareness. We will raise love, peace, and never again to anti-Semitism, to hate and discrimination against any Jews around the world.
I just get so, every time I see it, it's very touching. And I hope that everybody here felt the same way when they saw that. I know that after you got back, I think you held your first Yom HaShoah program after that for everybody. Can you share a little bit about your experience at Yad Vashem and a little bit about the big Yom HaShoah program that you held for the first time, Dr. Majid?
Yes, definitely. So it was really exceptional again, as I say, because we didn't have any knowledge about the Holocaust in terms of, like, normally people would have something in the education system, they would know, they would study things, they would know the history, but we had to do our own research, which actually in our country, in the UAE, they actually embrace the policy of tolerance, of coexistence, of accepting each other, of supporting each other. So we already come with this mindset, and by the way, in UAE, we have learned to do it since we were kids. Like, you go to different communities, you try to help, you try to support, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ethnicity, whatever it is, they teach you how to go there, work. Like, you see a church, go there, help the people. So we come with this mentality. So we went to Yad Vashem. Unfortunately, again, we didn't have a lot of information about it. It was just personally, I did my research, I read about it. It was connected to World War II. It makes a person sad, honestly, to see how it's a disgrace, to be honest, in human history. Whatever they did, the Nazis, that was really, I don't know how some people find it really easy, which is really, it shows how people are strong to find it in their heart to forgive, not to forget, but to forgive and move on. And this is what we saw. We saw Israel. It was nothing, absolutely, just a land, desert, maybe some lands here and there where people, have their lands to plant something or do whatever. But thank you guys, honestly, because that's a lesson the whole world has to see. How Jews, when they came to Israel, they did not, keep grudge in the heart, and they say, you know what, we need to wipe out all the people, anybody who hates Jews, they need to be wiped out from this world. No, they're focused in their country. They built a great nation, which is Israel. And that was really something to show a lot of respect. And going to Yad Vashem, honestly speaking, seeing things by yourself, we saw a lot of belongings, like real stuff, like wallets, shoes, clothes, how they used to mark Jews and discriminate them from any other people. It's so sad. It's so, honestly speaking, you cannot let it go without feeling touched, feeling really sad, maybe getting this feeling to be broken. But again, to have the amount of respect for the people, I met a lot of people in Israel, and the majority of them, they tell me, yes, we lost family members in the Holocaust, but still, they focus on the future. They don't forget the past, but focus on the future. So, which is really important. um, we couldn't hold ourselves when we saw the videos, killing women and children. They don't have any guns, they don't have anything, they're not even soldiers, they barely can harm anybody. They just want to live. And those videos were showing, soldiers, people, walking in the street, kids, they're in a very bad situation, no food, no money, no shelter, absolutely nothing. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. You cannot imagine humans, having these kind of feelings, and they don't even care about other humans who has absolutely no difference. They're all humans together, but they don't care because the ideologies of hate and discrimination, how they were programmed, since they were kids in Europe, to hate Jews, to not to talk to Jews, not to help Jews. It was really sad. um, I can't explain how touched we felt. We went out and we were like, you know what, because you have this conflict, Palestine, Israel, and everything. We want peace for the whole world. We don't want anybody to suffer, but we don't want people to exaggerate playing the victims. And I mean the Palestinians. Sometimes we want peace for them. We want them to live peacefully. We want them to build their nation, but not to play the victim and blame Israel for everything. I mean, Jews in Israel, they suffered a lot, and that was enough. They don't have to suffer anymore. And it's not. I mean, if you think of the example in Japan and the U.S., Japanese people did the same. They didn't go and blame everything in the world to the U.S. They tried to build their nation, and same thing happened to Israel. And I would say it was even harder to build Israel. Uh, it was, honestly, we came back to Dubai. We conducted the event here to remember, the Holocaust. And I believe also my colleagues here, they were attendant. They were at the event. We got to meet and a survivor, actually, from the Holocaust, and she was a twin. I think she had a twin sister, and whatever she said, it was completely horrible to see this human living now. And probably she saw hell, she saw darkness, she saw evil, and she's still here. And it was really touching. Whatever she said, like the stories, how they used to torture them, treat them like, I don't know. I mean, you would never even treat animals the same way, they were treating them at the Auschwitz.
Yeah.
It was completely horrible, honestly horrible. But again, much respect for standing up, for moving forward, for building the future. And this is what we saw in Israel.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you.
perspective. Alanud, I wanted to ask you one of your main focuses in Sharaka in the UAE. Can you share a little bit about that and what the main focus is in the UAE when it comes to the organization?
Sure. Majid was describing what we do as Sharaka and how we focus on bringing people together. And what we noticed is that Sharaka's role is not only influencing the Emiratis or the Bahrainis or the Moroccans, but actually it's going and reaching beyond to represent not only Israel, but the Jewish community and how we can all coexist together. And that's where we realize that we are focusing on three pillars as Sharaka. I have to say something. I was looking at the different people attending, and I want to say hi to every individual. I see Audrey and David, and I'm so proud to be speaking to all of you. And I hope you feel the warmth that we're feeling just being here at this event with all of you. And I just want to share that now we're feeling this amazing energy between two nations that were not speaking together for a very long time, maybe even ever. And now you see us traveling at all times. We have people visiting from Israel. We had yesterday a Lag Boamor event. And this is where our focus in Sharaka, we focus on the culture. We focus on the delegation because we understand that culture is very important. As humans, we're afraid of what we don't know, and we need to build awareness, changing the perception so people can actually live together and coexist. And by doing cultural events, we learn about each other, and that just makes that unknown very familiar. There's no more ambiguity. And we have delegation. You can never explain to someone something unless they actually visit and see it with their own eyes and actually experience something like Majid did. He was so privileged. Me and Umar, we look forward to going to Israel very soon. And we had, for example, this is one event that we had yesterday. It was celebrating Lag Boamor. We had people from Ireland, US, Canada, Israel, Syria, Egypt. We had over 9 nationalities sitting together, having a Ramadan sahur, which is the last meal before we go to bed so we can fast the next day. And we had a speaking telling us all about Lag Boamor. And everyone was fascinated to understand the history behind it. Now, this is just one example of what we do. We had another event where we're speaking about Pesach, Passover, and we spoke about Easter, and we spoke about Ramadan and how we all free from sin in these 3 different occasions. And this is what brings people together. Hate never is going to bring hate, and we're against all types of amplifying any negative messaging. We're all about positivity. We're focusing on the future. We understand the Jewish community had a lot, and they're facing, and it's sad that they're still facing it today, but we are here to support our brothers and sisters from the region. They're part of our region. We're part of one region that want to have a very better future. I see the future being very bright for all our communities, where we invest our knowledge, technology, and the hardship. We all came from a very hard place, and we learned how to just thrive. And this is what I think is strength that we have in the region. And for us, Sharaka, we built on building connection between people and how we can move forward, building a beautiful future together.
Thank you so much. Omar, I want to move over to you. I know that you are the new U.S. director of Sharaka. Can you tell us some of the plans for the U.S. that are going to be happening here in the United States?
So, Caren, thank you so much for having me, and shalom alaikum to everybody on the Zoom call. First of all, I have to say something. Al-Unud, she's being very, I don't know, how do I say this? She's reserving a lot about what she actually does or what she has done in the UAE for Sharaka. So she's the actual rock star in this group. With all her efforts yesterday, if you see the video, everyone, you're going to see it was just absolutely beautiful. I think next time I meet, like whenever we have these sessions, we have to actually play the videos of Anud's work and her activities. And so Caren, I've been in the US since 2019. I came here obviously because of the Fulbright scholarship, and I just graduated a few days ago, and I'm honored that Amit offered this position. Thank you. To represent Sharaka here in the US, and that means I actually stay longer than it was expected for me to be here for 2 years, but it looks I'm going to be here for a very long time, thanks to Amit and the team. So I just want to start a few words before I tell you exactly what we're going to be doing in the US. I can't tell you everything, Caren, because I'm going to spoil the surprise. I mean, we have a lot of plans, and only Amit can tell me if I can disclose them or not. But just to give you some opening remarks, the Abraham Accords, it sent a powerful signal that the UAE had taken back control of its own decision-making. The UAE's decision to normalize ties with Israel has removed a huge taboo from the Arab world. We need to connect with global hubs, and as Al-Unud said and Majid said, Israel is a global hub. It is a massive honor, and I'm so excited that I've actually had the opportunity to be present in Washington, D.C. when the accords were signed. I wasn't at the White House grounds, but I was actually meeting with the team behind the scenes during the signing of the ceremony. And this agreement stands on its own merits. It doesn't have to be about any other country. Not about Palestine, not about Iran, because sometimes they say, oh, maybe this was because we want to counter the Iranian threat. It has nothing to do with that. I think it's very clear from how quickly we moved from normalization, or let's say formalization, because the truth is a lot of people don't know that Israel and the UAE were talking for a long time, and there were deals happening just under the covers, but they were talking for a long time. And so they moved from normalization to a plethora of agreements that they were working on, and there's energy and enthusiasm on both sides to move in this direction quickly. And we've seen in the first few months, in 5 months, when the borders were open, 130,000 Israelis traveled to Dubai. That is an insane number. And over $300 million of trade happened between that time alone. And already the UAE, just a few days ago, announced a $1.1 billion acquisition in an Israeli gas firm in Israel, obviously. It's a significant advance in Arab-Israeli relations that lowers tensions and creates new energy for positive change across the region. As two of the most dynamic economies and vibrant societies in the Middle East, closer UAE-Israel ties will accelerate growth, innovation, expand opportunities for young people, and break down long-held prejudices. It will move the region beyond a troubled legacy of hostility and strife to a more hopeful destiny of peace and prosperity. The new headline in the Western media should be the modern East, not the Middle East anymore. Anyways, that was just some words that I prepared for this, my introduction. On your point, what are we planning here for the US? Number one, we want to definitely support students' bodies, Jewish student bodies across the different campuses here in the US on fighting anti-Semitism, the BDS, and all of these different issues that Jews have faced, as Majid mentioned. And in fact, just yesterday, one of our ministers, His Excellency Zaki Nusseibeh, who was the former advisor to the founding father of the UAE, Sheikh Zayed, said that BDS is a completely useless and unnecessary tool, and boycotting does not do anything. It just divides and avoids discussing the major issues at hand. Number one. Number two, the other thing that we have planned is we're going to fly in Emirati and Israelis to the US to conduct different volunteering projects. So we have an idea of doing something with the veterans here, maybe building homes for the vets, because it's a significant issue. And also it's something that is bipartisan. So we won't have anybody left or right, trying to downplay what we do. Hopefully we will get support. And then we also want to work with organizations like the Baltimore Zionist District. You might have activities and maybe we can collaborate and do something together. That's one of the other things that we have in plan. And of course, what's very, very important is interfaith dialogues. So we want to have interfaith dialogues on campuses, at events. I'm trying really hard to convince Amit if I can get myself, speak at APAC. Who knows, maybe push, it'll be the first time I can wear my kandura at an APAC event and, just scare everybody, or like everybody would be like surprised, like, wow, what is he doing? What's going on? So Amit told me it'll be a cool idea if we can promote Sharaka at that event. But we have quite a number of activities basically that we want to bring people from both the UAE, Bahrain, any country that signed the accords, and bring them along to the States and show to the media, the public, academia, about the prospect of peace, and hopefully more countries will sign up very soon.
Great, amazing. I can tell you, I have many of my board members on the call, and our president is on the call, and I'm sure he can't chat with us right now, but of course the BZD is always open and of course always willing to collaborate, and it is something that we of course want to do when you are up and running and getting started. Is we are your number one place to go to. So please, Amit has my number, and Ophir has my number, an email. So yes, we are absolutely 100% in for collaborating with you at any time.
I'll get
especially
in touch. I'll get in touch, Caren.
Yes, absolutely. So Amit, speaking of you, I hate to leave you for last before we go for questions from our chat over here, which we already have a few of over here, but I want to hear about Sharaka in Israel, of course. So please give us the lowdown on that. I'd love to hear about what is going on with Sharaka in Israel.
Tell you the truth, I have nothing to add. Like, my friends here is like, I'm just another.
You do a great job.
Another Israeli boring speaker. So I will not take from your time. I will just add two things that I think that I can bring here. One about Sharaka US, because that's interesting. Why we choose to invest some time, energy in our one of the best people ever, Omar, in that mission is one. I think it's the best positive answer to that will connect people, that will show the model of peace to the Western world, to the capital of the Western world, America. Those who try to bring peace for more than 100 years all over the world, the Europeans, the Americans, try to impose their own peace on us. We said, no. We know how to collaborate. We know how to coexist if we want. We don't need anyone to, we need the help. Yeah, but we know how to do it. And let us show you how we can do it together, both Israelis and Emiratis. And I think that's a very powerful, positive answer to those who are calling to boycott Israel, to those who are, like we all know, most of the people here, Americans, we all know that this BDS that call to boycott Israel is actually the new anti-Semitism. It's not only about boycotting the Israel, it's boycotting the Jewish state. And this is a very positive answer, without doing anything to fight something. It's just showing the positive way of coexistence. And that's what it is. So one is to bring the positive answer, and second is to show these haters from the BDS and others that this is the answer. And it's so important when it comes from both Israelis and Arabs from the Gulf that shows everyone how to coexist. And believe me, like Omar said, we don't want to disclose everything that we are planning to do. We have some nice ideas for the US, and I believe everyone here will hear about us, and especially about Omar and his activities in the US. One more thing that I want to add, Dr. Majid spoke a lot about his experience in Israel. I don't know how many of you have been to Dubai yet. I know that most of you are still closed in America because of COVID, unfortunately, but we've been there. I've been there, I think, already 5, 6, 7 times. Who counts? And I can tell you one thing. I'm in America a lot. I used to still running an organization called Reservists on Duty that fights BDS. And I can tell you, I know America very well. I felt more comfortable walking the streets of Dubai than walking the streets of Manhattan. And that's, I'm telling you straightforward, as a Jewish person from Israel, I felt more comfortable walking the streets in Dubai. With Israeli and Jewish symbols, without with pride. Some of the people just stopped and say, yeah, go ahead. And that's very important, because the warmth that our friends here felt in Israel, it's the same in Dubai. And that's an amazing thing, because we all, Dr. Majid mentioned it, but as an Israeli, I can express it even more. We have peace with the Arab world. We have peace with Egypt. We have peace with Jordan for quite a long time. And unfortunately, I wish it was a warm peace. Unfortunately, it's not. And you cannot feel comfortable walking the streets of Cairo or Amman, unfortunately. For sure, not with an Israeli flag or a Jewish symbol. And you will not see businessmen from Cairo, from Egypt or Jordan, unfortunately, visiting Israel or just coming to exchange culture and delegations and students. And the enthusiasm that you see here from our friends is an amazing thing and a new thing for us. And it's something that can will show also in the Middle East to other Arab countries what is impossible to do with the Israelis. That this peace is really impossible, and that we Jews, Israelis, we really want that peace, but we want it to be real, to be just. And this is an amazing way to show it. And that's Sharaka is all about, is to show that coexistence is possible, to show that coexistence is the way. And the fact we are coming to the US and the fact that we are doing this Zoom event is to show it also to the Americans.
Right.
I don't know if Elanud mentioned, I think she didn't say about yesterday, about an event she arranged in the desert of Dubai. But that's something, if someone will ask me 6 months ago, if that's, what's the chances that you will be in a Lag BaOmer and a Ramadan Iftar dinner, Israelis and Emiratis in the middle of the desert of Dubai? If someone will ask me that a year ago, I'll tell him, oh, man, you have to go to a doctor to see someone, because I don't think you are, something is wrong with you. And that was happened yesterday. Elanud arranged it. It was dozens of people that attend the event, Jews and Arabs. The chief rabbi of Dubai came to speak about Lag BaOmer. And yes, it's possible. It's possible. And it's happening. And that's what Sharaka is all about. And I really believe that this grassroots movement, because it's one thing when leaders signing different papers, and it's another thing, and I respect very much, for sure, the UAE leaders, who are one of the bravest leader in the world, in my opinion, that said that yes, they will be the first Arab country to sign this agreement. So I respect them very much, but at the end of the day, if we wanted to be forever, we have to make sure that no leader after will even think to reverse this decision. Why? Because these people already all over the place. They have businesses in Israel, and Israelis have businesses in the UAE, and there is students in University of Tel Aviv and students Israelis in Dubai. That's our mission, to make sure that no matter what happens in the future, this will still be a warm peace. And we people, regular people, we are not important people. We can do that bottom up. And that's what Sharaka is all about. I would just say, I will encourage you, before we go to Q&A, I'm encouraging you to go to our social media, Sharaka, or our website. If you want to invite us, we are going to be in the States a lot, sending delegations to talk about our activities. Omar is there 24/7 for Sharaka. Just send us to our website. You go to our website, you will understand how to send messages, to invite us to your community, to your school, to your university, tell to your kids. Just send a message. So the website is sharakang.com. Caren, I will send you all the information later. You can share with the people.
We will.
But we are here, and we are very, very excited and enthusiastic to bring this message out, because we really believe, you can see there is powerful people here, powerful team, and we have more of us, both Israelis and Emiratis, and we all want to take our message out there, and we really believe we are doing history. We really believe that 10, 15, 50, 100 years from now, people will speak about Omar, Elanud, Majid, and Amit as ones that took that opportunity that our leaders gave us and did something for next generations. So
It's really wonderful. And of course, we want to be part of that, the BZD. And of course, I know that many people, if not everybody on the call, wants to be part of that. And we will certainly send out the information for all your contact information, social media information, etc. After the call. I will ask a few questions, and I think anybody on the panel can answer them as they know the answers to the questions. Do you see Oman, possibly Saudi Arabia, joining the Abraham Accords in the future? Or
If you'd allow me, I need to confirm that yes, we are seeing them joining, because it's an indirect cooperation now at the moment. If you see the political situation, even from Saudi Arabia, by the way. The first thing is, if you see from an aviation point of view, allowing the Israeli aircrafts, to use the Saudi airspace, which is granting them one of the rights based on Chicago Convention, it's an amazing thing. That's a very big thing. It is only done by negotiations and sitting on the table and talking to each other. So I know that very well, and this is how it works in aviation. And then that's one step, even Oman, we have seen the policies of Oman. They tried their best to be neutral, but again, they work for the stability, they support coexistence. I see them very close, honestly speaking, maybe Oman more than any other country. But there will, if the question is, will there be peace with Saudi Arabia and Oman? I can guarantee you we will see it in the near future.
Great. What is the feeling of ordinary emeritus on the streets to the Abraham Accords? You see,
Caren, I can answer just maybe a bit of this, and maybe I'll let Anoud expand on it, because I'm actually in the US and it probably won't be fair, because I haven't been home since, like last year, since the Accords was signed. But I can tell you this, from just looking at social media, Caren, I think we mentioned this earlier. The UAE has never been to war with Israel. Like we never had an issue with them. And number two, I want to highlight something else, which is very important. There were lots and lots of Jews living in Dubai. There've always been lots of Jews living in Dubai, even before the Abraham Accords. There's a synagogue. It just wasn't public. And if somebody there, I had lots of Jewish friends growing up in Dubai. If somebody just told me he was Jewish or she was Jewish, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's fine. They are people of the book. They're mentioned in the Quran, for God's sake. Like it's fine. We never had an issue. So for most Emiratis, it was completely fine. I have to be honest though. Yes, there was, again, like Dr. Majid mentioned earlier, about either it was fake news or news that was kind of like exaggerating certain situations that were happening between the Palestinians and Israelis and whatever. Sometimes some of those, and by the way, there's also a lot of Palestinians that also live in the UAE, and some of them who were teachers, etc. Maybe they would try to like discuss those issues with us, and they kind of like maybe try to brainwash some of the students that were growing up. But for the most part, most Emiratis believe and are with their leadership 100%. So when the leadership announced the Abraham Accords and like finally we're going to be having these relations with Israel, everybody was cool. And the one good thing that the government has done for us, most Emiratis have studied overseas. Most of them have gone overseas. My sister went to Arkansas State, my brother went to Purdue. So the fact that from a very young age we were studying overseas, we got to meet a lot of Israelis. We met the Israelis outside and they were fine. We would party with them, we'd hang out with them, we'd do, they were just like everybody else. So when the normalization happened, it was completely fine. And what Emiratis are actually doing now is protecting themselves and their country against people that are still against the normalization. So we are standing like a fortified fort against the haters, as Majid said earlier. So the word on the streets, this is what I can tell you from my side, still in the States, that it's completely positive. And from some of the people that attended Anoud's event again yesterday, I can tell you it was awesome. And again, only unfortunate thing about yesterday's event is that Anoud raised the bar very high for me. So like anything that I do in the States, if it's not the same or better, Amit might just actually remove me from my position. So that's the only thing that I'm upset about.
Thank you, Ahmad. He's so kind, you know, he knows how to convince you, you know, I'm just like swayed. The way that the Abraham Accord started, if I just elaborate a bit and add to what Ahmad just said, we never had, like we never had a conflict with Israel, and we never had a conflict with the Jews. So we actually had, I have friends who lived here for 8 years in Abu Dhabi. Was a family, a couple with their 2 daughters, and they miss it. Now they went back to the UK and they really miss coming back because they had a lot of sun, not much of rain like the UK, and they really miss it. And they come and visit, and I met them 3 times since they went back to UK. And that's just an example. As we travel a lot and we're very exposed, and we have over 200 nationality in the United Arab Emirates. So we're very exposed to this diversity of different people from different backgrounds, and therefore we meet a lot of people from different religions. And we do believe we actually have a law against discrimination and racism. You can go to jail if you call someone anything racist or discriminating. It's that serious. So everyone here follows the government because we just believe in the harmony and the peace. And once we're all safe, because safety is a very important thing. Once you're safe and you're living in peace, prosperity is just an easy thing to do because everyone can actually focus on getting their work done, working on their businesses, etc. Because there's no distraction from troubles and problems that can affect the economy. And this is where the Abraham Accords actually just showed a lot of, I think it showed a lot of the people in the region what Israel and the UAE is capable. And we as Sharaka, we're setting an example to others what we can do together. All that energy put together for a good purpose, we can achieve a lot. And I think the Abraham Accords just amplified this peace and coexistence and living together, no matter what's your background, as long as you are a law-abiding citizen, you're a good person, you respect everyone else, then you're just living a wonderful life in such a great country like the UAE.
Great, thank you. I think we have about 5 more minutes. I think somebody asked a good question. Wondering if you can address the normalization from a pop culture perspective and how this will impact younger generations for children growing up in a new reality. For example, Israeli singers and Emirati artists kind of working together, and they gave examples of 2 artists that had recently done a video together in Dubai and Tel Aviv, which I thought was really nice, and how you think that impacts younger generations.
Okay, maybe I can start. So I think to be honest, you know, that's like a motivational tool here to encourage others to work together. It's not taboo anymore, you know, because some of the Arab media, I have to be honest, you know, they would show you that it's taboo. And I remember seeing a picture of the Egyptian actor, I think Mohammed Ramadan. I don't know if you know him, but he's taken a picture with Omer Adam in Dubai. And then there was a huge like fuss about it, like why? And I was like, I had to intervene, by the way, back then, at least on social media. And I made a video about it. I was like, what's wrong? You know, there is absolutely nothing wrong. These 2 are like singers or maybe actors, you know, it's really recommended for them to take pictures together. So this is the point. And believe it or not, you know, I have even my daughter, you know, when I came back from Israel, she was asking me, and she's 13. So she's asking me, have you been in Israel, you know? And she's like, Dad, I want to ask you something. Why some people on social media, you know, they show hate to Israel? And I told her because they're, with all due respect, but I told her they're ignorance. And they say, yeah. I mean, the child told me that I don't see any reason to hate it. I would love to go there. And that's my daughter, you know, she's a kid. And I believe nowadays kids, they don't care because hate and discrimination is planted by parents, by society, by teachers, you know. So now when they see these pictures, these examples, when they grow up, they would never believe that there was a conflict, you know, between these two countries. I can guarantee that. Maybe they will read about it in history, which actually, again, I need to second what Alanud said. Like all Gulf countries, not just UAE, have absolutely no conflict with Israel. We have no problem with Israel, absolutely no problem. So again, these children, when they grow up, I think it will promote more cooperation. It will promote innovation and creativity, which is really important, you know, to build societies and to build countries. So I think it's a very good sign. We need more cooperation, more pictures, more videos. And Alanud, you have to share the video of last night. It's so touching, so amazing. You know, Jews, Muslims, even Christians. And by the way, we had people from, if I'm not mistaken, Alanud, Pakistan, and even Syria, Lebanon. You know, they had no problem. They had absolutely no problem, you know, being all together. So I think it's a very good approach.
I'll just add one thing to what Majid said. I think with the younger generation, it's the social media. It's that domino effect. It's how we can reach a lot of people and wider. These tools were not available 50 years ago, and now we have them, and we need to take advantage of them for the good of sending the right message across. It's a double-edged weapon, but if the bad people are using it, the good people have to use it as well, you know? And it's very important.
We need to be just as fierce, if not fiercer. I agree 100%. I want to thank each of you for being here, for taking the time. I know it's so much later for you than it is for us, and we really do appreciate it from all of us at the BZD, all of our members, all of our board, all of our staff. We really do appreciate you taking the time, you being here, you sharing with us, you answering questions, and everything that you do, not just being here, but from the bottom of our hearts, everything that you do to bring us together and to bring peace to all of us. Omar, I know that you are the closest to all of us. I don't know where you're, I think Florida, you said you're based in Florida. Adi and Rachel and I are happy to come down to Florida. So please let us know. But of course you are, whenever you find yourself in Baltimore or DC, that's very close to us, please let us know. We're happy to have you and have an event here in Baltimore. I know that we will all love to see you in person at some point. So please stay in touch with us. Amit, thank you for putting this together for us from Israel. Thank you all for being here from the UAE. We appreciate you, Alamud, Dr. Majid. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Adi's gonna put up a screen share right now that will have the panel, everybody that was here, along with website, contact information.
And just send a message. We will be happy to come, and please spread this. We want to raise the awareness of Sharaka, that people will know about the work. People will know that we have someone, Omar, in the States. We are willing to work and to come to communities and to engage with the people and to connect between the people. And we need, this is one of the first events that we are doing. I think the second that we are doing in the States, Zoom events. Hopefully we'll do it face-to-face soon, but please share this message. Follow us on social media, tell your friends. I think that's the most exciting and unique project that you can be involved these days.
Yes,
thank you.
And we're happy to do an in-person event, Amit, whenever you're ready. And
Thank
Omar.
You'll see me in Baltimore very soon, Caren. You know, you don't have to convince me twice. DC,
great.
And home. And
that's great.
You do not have to worry.
Fantastic.
When I come back from Dubai in 2-3 weeks, I'll be in DC.
Great. And somebody wants to send me to Dubai, I'm happy to come there too.
Yeah, we can make it happen in a snap of a finger, just like that.
Alanud, you might have somebody sitting next to you soon. I don't know.
Have you?
Someone with blonde hair, you never know.
Yes. You're more than welcome, honestly, Caren. As we say, you know, we have a quote to say in Arabic, you know, our house is your house. So you're always welcome in Dubai, always welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you so much.
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Everybody else have a great day.